How do you make videos better than what you can do with your skills? How can you buy other people's talent? And this is what I want to give you today in this video: the ability to ramp up your skills without improving your own, just by buying other people's skills. I had this call with one of my students the other day that he told me, I'm seeing all these editors online, and I'm like, I really wish I can hire them, but they're so expensive. Just like 1K per day edit, it's crazy. And then I can't do that, because then I had to bump up the production budget, and then I won't be able to sell it to my clients because there's just no profit in it for me. And I helped him to switch from just being the production company to being the creative strategist, meaning he will now gather the talent and give that to the client just by taking his own fee on the side, regardless of the production budget. And basically what that means is that now he can bring on the table any production company, or if he does the production himself, any part in the production, without that being a part of the budget. So let me give you an example so you can understand. When you're doing the production yourself, it's like you're editing, you're filming, you're producing, you're everything, right? Then, wait a sec. Then everything falls on you, and everything is budgeted with you, towards you, for the client. If you charge 5K, then you take the 5K, the client pays you directly, and that's what it is. When you bring somebody in, that 5K production, for example, a new editor that charges 1K for the edit, for example, that 1K doesn't come off from the client, it comes off from you. Now, how can you hire that editor without that coming out of you? So this is the creative strategist model. And this is what I want to give you today. What is a creative strategist? So a creative strategist is basically someone who helps the client strategize their creatives, tells them what videos they need to do, and then help them get the production companies or videographers or editors in order to execute on that. The creative strategists take their own fee, and the production fee budgets is something else. It's something that the client pays regardless of the creative strategist. So there are two things here: the fee of the creative strategist and the production budget. These are two separate things, and the reason they're separate is because you want to create neutrality. If you have strings attached to the budget of the production, then the client will go like, well, he wants to sell me the highest production budget, obviously. So, it beats the point. But when you are the advisor, you can give your client options to choose from. So like, this is the 2K budget option, this is the 5K budget, and this is the 10K or 50K or 100K, whatever. The thing is, you as a strategist tell him, well, look, based on your goal, Mr. Client, in my opinion, the best option to go with is option number 3, is option number 1, is option number 2, whatever it is, to get to your goal. You want to be independent of, not independent, you want to be, how do you say it? Let me give an analogy so you can understand this better. Imagine going to the mechanic for the first time. Like, you have no idea how a car runs and what you should look for or whatever, and you go to the mechanic and he tells you, yeah, this costs whatever, $900 to fix. If you go alone, you have no idea what's going on. You'll be like, okay, I guess so, here's my money, take it, but inside you feel like you got ripped off. Versus if somebody who knows the industry and knows cars really well, and knows and have experience with mechanics and all those things, come with you, then he tells you, then you feel much more comfortable going to that mechanic, and you feel guarded in a way. And now, if that, so let's say that person is your father, and you go to the mechanic when you're like 16 or whatever for your first time, now you feel safe. And so this is kind of like how a creative strategist is. A client doesn't know the world of videography and video production company. video production, sorry. And so when a creative strategist comes along, he makes sure that the client doesn't get ripped off and that we're creating videos catered to the business goal, not just beautiful looking stuff. And this is how we're enabled to charge separate from the production budget. And so this student of mine, just from like one call we did, was able to charge 2.5K retainer to just being the creative strategist. And that is regardless of the 5K retainer per production. What I do is I charge 5K for a creative strategy retainer, which is one weekly call a week. So one weekly call plus strategy that I built for them, and I help them gather data, and I help them do the research and get the production companies. But basically it's just like 1 hour a week where then they go and produce the videos and I oversee that. But I'm like kind of like the, how do you say it, like the responsible adult. That's kind of like how I love to see it. So anyway, this is how you can just buy talent. This is how you can improve your skills very fast without improving your own. If I want to create, let's say there's a lot of time I just go on Instagram and I see people edit and shoot amazing videos. I was just like, I want that. That's, as long as I get the budget, I can do that. That's no problem. So suddenly the whole world is kind of like my playground, because I can choose, as long as I have a budget from the client, like the client has that budget, I can get that talent. And so it's much more fun working that way for me. And so if you're in that position where you want to just buy somebody else's talent and you don't have a way to do that without taking off of your profit, think about this new model of being a creative strategist versus the actual production company. Hope this helps.